Good morning. It's 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, and it's Norma Cowie here again with Norma Talks. Today, I'm going to talk about what I call my expanded chakra system. I'm not an artist, but let me first tell you the story how I discovered this. There was two of us, actually. I was taking a course with one teacher, and a good friend of mine was taking a course with another teacher. And we would get together and discuss what we had found. Now, I think everyone, to a large degree, was, especially in my era, was taught of the original 7 chakras. But when both of us were, she was taught a different one, and I was beginning to go inside the system, and I was finding and experiencing others. And so between the two of us, we realized that what we were being taught about the original 7 wasn't accurate anymore. Excuse me. Jeepers, this voice, yes, just 5 minutes ago was great. So anyway, I am not an artist either. And I'm just trying to think, but I did a crazy little picture, which makes no sense at all to anybody because I'm not an artist. My grandmother was, my children were, my nieces and nephews were, but not me. It missed me totally. So I was sitting here thinking about what am I going to talk about on Wednesday? And it came to me to talk about the expanded chakra system. Most people are taught with the basic 7. There is a base, there's a run around your navel, solar plexus, heart, throat, and crown. But what I'm going to suggest here is a lot more. How I found them was I moved into the system and then followed where the system went and where it kind of, you might say, all of a sudden realized that there was a system here that needed to be opened. There's also many more chakras above the top of the head. And I have a very interesting story to tell about that, is that a British clairvoyant that I've known for a long time, because she used to come and work in the psychic fairs I produced. And she phoned me, and she was not feeling very good, she said. Just, wanted to check in. She had never phoned me before. But anyway, she phoned me. So I sort of sat down and thought about this for a little bit. And I said to her, the chakra above your head, 3 above your head, it's clogged. We just need to clear it out. And she looked at me. She looked at me and said, "What are you talking about?" And that's the thing, is that people are not aware of these energy centers that we have. In fact, the one just above your head, I call the soul star. It's an important one because we got the crown chakra, yes, but we're going to go through them. But I want you to realize that so many people who have been very good psychics, very good, all sorts of things like that, have no understanding of the largeness of this chakra system. I just called it an expanded chakra system because that's what I found, and have spent time speaking to others at different times when it's come up. And some people have discovered parts of it, but I hadn't found anybody, I'm not saying that it's not true, but that has got a good picture of how it all interrelates. So let's start with your feet. We know that at the bottoms of your feet, there is chakras that lead down to what I call anyway. I'll just use my names for them because I'm pretty simple that way. An earth star. And then there's chakras that do go on down because we're all balanced. What's above is below, etc. So, but the thing is to understand that the bottoms of your feet, there is a chakra here. Like if this is my foot, there is something that will connect down to the earth star. And the earth stuff then goes on down into the earth. Now, coming on up, I'll see if I can do this with this way. My horrible printing. Coming on up, which is an important one, is the base. Now, the base is that. It's the very bottom, very root. It just sits actually underneath your body. And some people think of that as the sexual one, but actually it's the one above it that is more sexual. Then I've got them here on both sides. That's not. I'm just going to get you to imagine. Now, where your pubic bone is, there's another one. That's probably more associated with sexuality than most people realize. So the base energy is bringing that earth energy up, and we need that grounding into the earth. It brings it up, and then and what you've got to do and realize, and if my crazy little hand drawing here, I've got written here, or you can see a big circle. Let me see. No, it doesn't fit in there properly. A big circle all around, because all of these chakras is just not one point. When you expand them out, they all become balanced, and they all connect into the bigger energy field of you, actually. That's why some of us can sit or stand and talk to a big, large group of people, and our energy encompasses them all. But you just don't want to walk around like that, as we'll find when you go into a shopping mall or something. You want to be able to bring that in really close. And so we've got the base at the bottom of the spine. The pubic bone is where the pubic bone is. And I'll talk about how to expand these all in a moment. Then you come up to what I call the navel. I just gave them names like that relate to the body because it's easier. Then it comes to the navel. And that is a very important one as well, energetically. It's where a lot of energy can get blocked. Sexual, confidence, all that kind of thing can be often in the navel chakra. So we want to get that clear. Coming on up a little higher is what I call the waist, right at the waistline chakra. And it's again, if you can see my picture, I have orange for the regular and purple for the new ones. Then, of course, we come to the solar plexus. Now, the solar plexus, because when you think you're just dealing with 7, the solar plexus is a very important one. And it's often what would you say, kind of too big, because what we're looking for is balance. So we want every chakra to be connected with everything, but balanced. Like no one chakra is more important than the other. They all have a part to play. And so the solar plexus very often, because it's right in your solar plexus area, affects a lot of organs that are there, different elements. So very often if you're dealing with health issues, you would look to see how that chakra is okay, working all right. Coming on up, we have the sternum. That's right where your 2 rib cages kind of come together. And that's an interesting one too. It's there. It adds into the things. And then the heart. Heart chakra, of course, is the heart chakra, emotionality, where we are, what we're doing. But it has a mid-chest. We have a mid-chest one. And the mid-chest one, also they're all important. That's what I found. And then we've got the throat, which is an old familiar one. Upper lip. I'm going to come back and talk a lot about the upper lip as we're looking at the different systems in the head. Upper lip, brow, that's the clairvoyant part and moving into the brain and all of that. And then, of course, your crown. And then there's a soul star above. And actually, you can feel these with your feet and about the soul star. And I'll shrink down in my chair. And if you put your hand up and put your hand as high as you can and move it above your body, and then slowly, anytime you're working with energy, you work slowly bring it down. I'm kind of there. Bring it down over. All of a sudden, you'll feel a pressure in your palm. You got chakras in your palms too, by the way. You can always activate those just by giving kind of a little rub and getting it. So it's like if you're coming down, you all of a sudden you go, oh yeah, I can feel that. That is your soul, like soul star is close, but you've got them all the way up. Again, I find the number 3 is above the head, above outside of the stomach. Um, all of those anywhere. That's sort of another big point. But the energy, what we always want in a chakra system is that the energy running smoothly. And very often the emotionality gets stuck. And so consequently, and also I should add that because most people do not recognize that the expanding chakra, and I found in my travels, some people had some of them, and some people didn't have them all. And by the way, I've never written this out or put it out in any shape, form, except in classes and or what would you say, talks. But I somehow or other I was told to do this today. Air energy field. Now, I find a lot when people say they don't like crowds. I'll tell you why you don't like crowds. It's because your aura is way, way too big. Some people think it gives a sense of power. It doesn't. The power comes having more consolidated, where where it's moved down through the base into the earth. So you're grounded and it's solid. Whenever you're with a crowd, you always make sure that that aura is more closer to you, so that it's like your energy field is compacted. But mainly too, I wanted to talk to you today is about the psychic elements that are in your head. I drew this up last night and I'm laughing because it looks really weird. But you've got psychic eyes, psychic nose, and psychic ears. Some people forget that their main psychic talent is not seeing. They forget that they have a psychic nose. They forget that they have psychic ears. Now, let's talk about the ears first. The psychic ears sit down, you know, the mastoid bone down here, it sits just above that. And often people, when they first are being introduced to it, say, oh, that hurts there. Yeah, because it's clogged. It's not open. So it's like a matter of getting that all on both sides, actually, both sides, because the energy from the upper lip runs right through to them, to your psychic ears. Psychic nose is usually more up here, right where your glasses go over. Some people have an incredible, I have a cousin who has an incredible psychic nose that's she used in her work too. But it's that's another story. But she couldn't figure out. She was trying to teach other people what she did, because I might as well say, she used to work in a bank, and she's retired now. She used to work in a bank, and she was really good of picking out frauds. So they gave her a job of teaching other tellers how to find people who were being fraudulent. And it wouldn't work. And when I went down to visit, and then she was explaining to me what went on, and I said, well, it's because not everyone has a psychic nose like you do. Because when I said, well, what do you do? She said, well, it just smells weird. Just smells. I said, well, you have a psychic nose. Know that most people do not have a psychic nose. They have it, but they don't use it, or they don't recognize it. So find out what their main talent would be, because it would be either eyes, it looks wrong, or there's something wrong with how it looks, or ears, it sounds wrong. Now, psychic ears, as I've said, I sit down here, just underneath the ears, and very often, in fact, if you go I should explain here too. If you work with energy, you go slowly. You don't ever go fast because you go right through it. So if you ever go down below your ears, a little bit in the back, mastoid bone is very important there, and feel in the middle, and it hurts. That means your psychic ears are congested. Now you got two. I can't get my hand up, my elbow up there, so I have to do it all on this side. Now, so you have your brain. I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to shuffle this down a little bit here so I can. My crazy drawing I did yesterday here. Your head is really busy with things. You've got psychic eye. You got your psychic eyes, so you can see aura colors, or you can see other things. You've got a nose that can smell. You've got, and also taste. I didn't mention that, but your mouth, you have a taste. Some people feel a taste. They go, "Oh, it tastes funny." Well, that tastes funny because it's picking up from the psychic mouth. The psychic mouth tends to come through more the right under the nose. Very compacted in this part of your face. So your brow chakra is here, and they always say it's the all-seeing eye. Yes, but that's just the eye of, and it's got to be connected with the other systems. And because people forget you've got all these other things happening, very often things get confused. People forget that the psychic ears, the hearing, that when people hear things, is actually much further down, even though it's a sound, and it comes up into where it needs so you can get it. There's a sense of understanding that you're so much more than what you really think that you are. I'm going to put this my funny little picture. I have one somewhere that is much more. I just sketched this last night, yesterday afternoon, I think. You'll see here, and I'm peering around because it's the only way I can see where my hand goes, because it goes back to front. I've got underneath here, I missed the judge list, but you've got chakras going down into the ground. Okay. Energy comes up. It comes up through all of these, but each one of these has energy that goes out into joining into sort of the essence of where you are. It's like around, it just doesn't flow away. It stays in a sort of a closed circuit. The closed circuit, some people have wide auras. We'll say your aura for a moment. One of the elements I find a lot, some people, I hate crowds. I get that quite often over the years. Can't stand crowds. Yes. Well, where is your aura? They don't know. Sometimes huge. If you have a huge aura, you've got to bring it in. If I'm going to go be in a crowd, I'm going to have that aura really close. So, because otherwise you've got everybody's stuff going. And if people, sometimes you can get upset, and in a crowd, sometimes it's pressure. If you're lining up for a sporting event, or you're going to a concert, or you're going somewhere where there's a lot of people, you don't want your aura way out there having everybody walking through, because your system's going to take it and try and figure out what to do with it. And you just want you being you. The key is to be yourself at all times, no matter where, no matter what, no matter what's going on. Your energy is really important. And your psychic systems never go to sleep, really, even though your mind goes to sleep. It's always active. It's always going on. I noticed something that I mentioned here is like you've got chakras in your palms too. That's where the healers, you'll often see the healer when they go to work. They'll rub their hands or even go in and actually activate with their thumbs, the palms of their hands, because then the energy will start to move through. All these things all come together in this magnificent system that we've been given. It's like gives us a radiant element of who we are and where we are and what we're doing. And the unfortunate thing is it's not taught. I find still today many people are just taught there's 7 chakras. They don't talk about chakras in the feet or the hands. They don't talk about the other elements. I was just looking down here, like we are. Oh, hang on a minute. My head is telling me. One of the things I began to realize was the more I began to get into this, and the more I was running into the seven chakra, and I thought, you know, magnificently, mega years ago, they discovered that there were seven chakras. But think how the difference of our world today. Think of the amount of people we have today. Think of the amount of energy that's flowing around everywhere, just even on the thought processes. And so it comes to just consciously thinking about it. You realize that your system has had to adapt, and therefore it has become more refined. I'm not saying that those extra chakras that I discovered in each one of them is what's the word, is just now, and like this a number of years ago I did this, but it's like knowing that we have evolved. We have evolved into being much more refined, much more aware, much more in the sense of direction. And wherever there is an issue, mostly often the chakras are involved, which is really kind of like, where do we get, why does the energy get stuck and blocked? And I mean, you know, I can say the same thing. You know, all of a sudden I developed melanoma cancer, very virulent cancer. When they surgerized it, should have been gone, came back even worse. So it's like, where did all that come from? That means my you might say the chakra point in my elbow, it's not really a chakra, but the energy point in the elbow, something happened there. So it's like that has to be worked with. There's amount of rebalancing everything, getting the energy to flow again so that it becomes aware. I mean, I can still think and I can still that, but I can't use my left arm for a lot of things anymore. There's many, many, many things that are going on. Sometimes it's just a matter of understanding and accepting this is what you're dealing with. Other times it's just a matter of recognizing, where is your energy? Where are you leaking energy? Where are you clogged energy? And if you just take a look at this basic system, you will see from the earth up, going all the way up to the sky. Even if you just get 7 points above and 7 points below, because you're in the middle. And I find sometimes that's a matter of working. I don't always work with clients particularly about where all the chakras, but the system I have for energy work tells me if the chakras are not right. And I'm finding more and more people there are okay. People who are just getting onto the bandwagon, you might say, of growth, not so good. So that means I can straighten those out. That's not a big problem. But each one of us is so talented. Each one of us has an energy within us. And if we can just understand, especially the psychic elements that we carry around our heads. Psychic mouth, let's talk about that for a moment. Not many people talk about that. Most people don't even, excuse me again. Most people do not even are aware that we have a psychic mouth. It's like my cousin who was not aware it was her psychic nose that was doing it all, and that she had one. And yet she was able to use it in her work for years. Some people have great eyesight because they have their psychic eyes. I made the blue here because it works very much with the brow chakra. And I put the blue, well, you can't see it, but I put blue here. And I put down here for the ears and the mouth and even the nose, the smelling. I never had a good smeller. So that was always one part of me that I really didn't get. But you see, we're given talents, so we have talents, but doesn't mean that the energy has to be blocked. Doesn't mean that the energy doesn't have to be recognized. When I found when the psychic ear was actually much lower and further back than what most people considered it, they didn't even think of it. It was just related to the ear here. But when I went looking for the energy of it, it was down and back, and it's really right close to the mastoid bone back in here. And all of a sudden, some of you, if you want, you can take your finger and run it down beside there, and you'll find it hurts because it's blocked. It's not working. So it's like this, same as your throat. I've always had a fairly open throat chakra. You wouldn't know it by all this voice problem I have, but actually just another thing that's going on with my health. I do have an appointment to have someone check that out. There's obviously a problem back there that's creating that. So we're on top of that. But it's like we are just phenomenally energetic beings that have a skin that has all these organs inside, but each one of everything is related to the energy pulse that you have that we call the chakra system. And the chakra system is the one that we want clear, and we want working, and we want being in every which way. It's not that strange, or it's not that mystical, but I just want to expand the awareness, because so often people are still caught in the old paradigm of we have 7 chakras. Sorry, I've even forgotten how many we actually have, because we have so many above our head. Even if you went 7 up below our feet, they meet at the Earth Star and go down deep, deep, deep into the earth. How much we want, but we can govern a lot of this energy. Like, as I said, when you're in crowds in particular. I can tell you a funny story. When you have parades and things like that, my friends and I, we would get together, and then we wanted to move through the crowd. They would put me in front because I could create an energy like an arrow like that, and the crowds literally would part for us. I would do it when I was, this is like many years ago, in my car, and I wanted to get somewhere fast. I would put my energy out there and have the cars move out of the way so I could get through. Is that using energy incorrectly? Who knows? I did it, and you can do it, but you got to be careful what you're doing. You don't ever overdo it. But certain circumstances that you want a crowd and you want to move through, you just make sure that people. And it's so funny to watch them move out of the way. They don't even know why they're moving, because you're coming through. So this system is really about healing. It's about having everything in alignment. It's about understanding how we all work and fit in relation to the energy fields. It's knowing that so often energy gets clogged, that we don't recognize that's clogged. And so it's all part of where, what, when, and how. Not everyone would be interested in an expanded chakra system, but if you're into metaphysics in any way, if you're into psychic development in any way, this information is imperative, I think. It's very, very important. I know whenever I'm doing the energy clearing for people, it's almost one of the first things we look at. How are the chakras? And I deal with an expanded chakra, not only this expanded chakra system, but others. So it's like knowing that for some reason, I was directed to talk about this today. For those of you that listen, I trust you and give you a food for thought, and know that everything is good, wonderful. You've got it all within you, and you can begin to figure out what's going on. That's why you'll see healers rub their palms, because they're activating the chakras in their hands to move the energy through. So I think that's all I have to say today. But we do have this system, and I just wish I was able to draw it a little bit better. But it's all there, and we tend to deal with. Just remember that whatever you've learned of the seven, there's always one in between, and many above the head, many below the feet, and hands, and all work together. So on that note, I want to say hi to Yvonne this morning. Nice to see you here. And anybody else, I'll say bye for now. Until next time. Remember, on Saturday, I'm doing some channeling for a few people. So we're doing that. And next week, I'll be back for mental mind treatments on Monday night. You enjoy. Bye now.